Hello, welcome to part 5 of this Irish lace sampler series, and we're making ourselves a little 2-panel Irish lace piece. And we had great fun in part 4 because we did this right panel, finished it off, and we're sort of nearing the end now, but we have a few more really fun things to do. One of the things we're doing today is making this little roundy thing called a pop. I'll show you up closer what it looks like. That's what a pop looks like. It's a little ring that goes into the middle of your netting. And you can see you can put just one on if you like, or you can arrange a few of them. So it's up to you how many you want to do on this, but we're going to decorate this side with a pop. And I'm also going to show you how to do some fancy edging, and you're going to really enjoy this. You can do a plain edging on something, but you can also fancy up that edging quite a bit. And this one has a very fancy edging on it. So you'll see how to do that lovely scalloped edging. It's a type of picot. I'll show you how to do that today in part 5. So after you've got needle and thread sorted out, I've got a longish piece of thread here. You're going to decide where to put your pop in, and I'm going to put my little pop somewhere around here. So you pick a stitch to put it into, because you're going to work 1 or 2 stitches into each side of that stitch as you work around in a circle. I have this thing, it's the inside of a pen actually. You know, the inside barrel of a pen. You can just do it with your fingers, but if you have a straw or a bit of a pen or something around, it's kind of handy as well. So we're getting about the right size, 2 turns of that. And as I say, it's all the one thread. So it can be a little bit fiddly starting the thing, but I'm going to fiddle around for a couple of minutes and get it placed over the stitch that I want to the size that I want. And I'll zoom in and show you how it looks before I start the first stitch. Now I have this placed and I've run my thread under it to do one of our stitches that we're well used to, where we make the little loop, and we're using the end stitch. We have the starter thread going in, then it twists around 2 times, we placed it over a stitch, and the end of the thread, that's sort of the end that attaches to the needle, goes under the needle, and our needle passes under the 2 loops around and the sort of bottom or side edge of the stitch. So this first stitch is going to secure it. So I have to find where my edge is underneath of the Brussels point, underneath, and I'm doing a second one into the same stitch of the Brussels point and pulling through in a loop. And it's very close to the first stitch. So if we just have a look at how the pop is going to look at the end again, see the way the stitches are really close? You're going to go all around with the same stitch, but after you've done 2 into one side of the stitch, we're going to come around. It might be more than 2, you know, it's to do with coverage of the actual pop, because you want it to look totally, those threads that go around, to look totally covered. Okay, so I'll work my way around 2 into, we'll say 2 into each little Brussels point stitch, and I'll meet you back here when I get to the end. Okay, so I finished that little pop, but obviously I'm going to have to fasten it off some way. But before I fasten it off, I just want to show you, mine is an okay size, but if you wanted to tighten up your stitches very slightly, you can pull that little thread that was your starting thread, and it just gives them a little tiny bit more tightness. That thread is going to be trimmed right up there, but first of all we're going to finish off by going into the side of one of these stitches. So there we are, going in again through the first stitch that I made, and then I'm going to fasten it off by going through traveling through a few stitches in the back of that pop. So you see the way the stitches are lying sideways there. I'm going to travel through the back of that to make sure the work, and you can see it's fastened there. I've stitched it onto the Brussels point. I'm doing this carefully so that nothing pulls. Okay, you see the way my needle is through the stitches on the back? It's for reasons like this you use a small needle. I could have even done a smaller needle on this. So I'm going to pull through that and then cut my threads off. That will finish it. Just hold it in place with my nail and pull through. And that pop isn't in the middle. So that's because my original stitch wasn't exactly in the middle. So that's when, doing a few of the pops might be. Now, I actually like it slightly off center personally, and I would just leave it. But if it bothers you, you could put another one up here and another one down there, and you've got 3 pops. And plenty of practice on it. Okay. So I'll just get rid of the loose threads, and then we'll do our edging, our fancy edging. Okay, so to do our edging stitch, I have traveled a little bit under the cordon stitches, the couching stitches on that, to come in from the side. And then I'm going to make a little starting loop. This little tail will be covered at the end, because we're going to come around here, work all the way to the left, around the whole piece, and then down the center bar. And I can work this way up or that way. And sometimes I find this handy, and sometimes I just keep turning the work around when I'm working. So that's your stitch that's going to hold things together, right? So we're going to do 5 stitches with that loop, and it's going through the cordon but not through the green cotton in the back, because remember that backing is coming off. We're going to do that in the next video, so that's going to be incredibly exciting. I also have a announcement about a new lace project for you, because people seem to be enjoying this project so much that I have a follow-on project where you get to make a little buttercup with all the stitches that you learned, and I think you'll like it. So you see how this works? It's just very, very close together stitches, a bit like the pop, except we're traveling in a straight line. Can I fit one more on that side of the cordon stitch? You just kind of avoid the cordon stitches, but it doesn't matter if you go into them. The couching stitches, just don't go into the back. And one more. Okay, so you have 5 stitches there. And what we're going to do is, I've turned it the other way up again because it's handier for me. We're going to make a little picot thing, and picot just means fancy bit around the edge, and you can see it's got a little loop style to it. So to make that loop, we need to run a sort of a cord thread across 3 times. So we're going to the right, left, and right again, and then we're going to fancy it up. So we're going into the very edge. I'm looping back into the first stitch, but I'm not going to pull this very tight because I'm just using that as wait till I get this little tail out of the way. I'm using that as a little loop, start of my little loop. Okay, going back across, and I'm going to go into the 5th stitch and pull through. Now I want them the same length, so I just hold my needle there in the first loop. I've gone through, you see, to make sure they're the right loopiness width. And then we're going to go back through the first stitch. So I've gone back through the first stitch with a 3rd loop. And you know, the loops look a bit messy at the moment, but we're going to do something which is going to hold them together well. So I'll just get my needle through them there and give them a little wiggle to make sure they're the right width. So I've got a height for them that's related in some way to the height of my Brussels point, but it's up to you how sticky outy you want these. And we've got the needle through them. Now I'm going to make a little series of loops, and I'm working to the left. So all the thread goes to the left. And I can just put my fingernail on that to hold it. There's the first one. Look, already you can see the shape starting to emerge. And these are fiddly but fun. They're slow though. So get yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, a juice, a soft drink, whatever you like. And just immerse yourself in it and enjoy it. I'll show you what it looks like when I get to the end of that little picot. I should point out that you can work this way up, and if you're getting any sort of twist on those stitches, working that way can help to get a little straight row of stitches. Okay, so mess about with it and see what way is comfortable for you, either or. Working with the work right side up or working it with this side up, it's all the same. So I've only got another couple of stitches to go before we're at the end of this one. I missed my loop, hang on. And it's very satisfying when you're towards the end of work like this, because you see all the loose tails getting worked in, you know. You're kind of trimmed them a little bit, but now I'm leaving it that it's not too fat along the edge, because what I want to do is I want to go through the cordon again, and I want to get another group of 5 stitches going. Then I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay, so that's the first of 5 stitches and the first little picot. Okay, so I'm going to do 5. I'll see you when I get to here. Okay, 5 stitches, and then back to the first one, loop through, and you're trying to get this next little picot thread the same height, if you can, as the first one. So, you know, have a look in your needle and see what it's like. And I'm going to go across this way and back. Sorry, you have to hold it up there. So I've passed it once, twice, and back a third time, making sure it's the same size. Back into the first stitch again, and then I'm ready to start stitching onto that picot. Okay, so I'm going through the hole, making a loop, and working my way across that. And then when you get over here, 5 more, 3 little threads, and work into it. And you're going to work all the way around here, and then stop here because we're just doing a plain stitch on that middle bar. So I'll meet you when I get back here. Okay, here I am on the very last stitch, and we have this cute ornamented design going all the way around now. But we also wanted to go up the middle. But we don't want the flounciness of the picots. We do want just kind of a plain bar. So I'm going to do it this way around with the edging facing this way. I don't mind it being close to this little ring pop shape in the middle because I've decided to put 2 more of those in just to make it look nice and balanced. I think it'd be a nice design. So I'm going to go into that central bar there and make a little loop to start myself off. Like zoom you in on the first stitch. And it's the same stitch, so it's that little loop again. And I'm going to have it nice and close together, and no coming across for making those little picot things. I'm just making plain stitches, and I'll carry on doing these and see you over here. All right, so I have that central bar finished, and I've just finished off by going in at the side, around the back, and traveling down a few stitches before I come out. I still have a couple more of those to go in, but that's it basically, and I think you're going to enjoy that bit. So I'll just cut that thread off, do my pops, and that's it. So here's the finished piece, and if you got this far, well done you. You're well on the way to being a really good lace maker, because you've got the right personality to persist with something for a start. And next time we're going to take this off the backing, which is going to be the final reveal. And I'll also tell you about that other follow-up project I have for this, because although you've made a sampler now Wouldn't it be nice to do a little lace design? I think you could really call yourself a fairly good lace maker when you handle doing a decorative design, not just a sampler. But you did very well to get this far in the sampler, and it's going to look lovely when we take it off next week. So enjoy doing this week's one anyway. You'll have a good bit there to keep you busy, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.